taking the leap from prototype to net zero prefab homes. Please welcome Vamsi Kumar Kotla, founder and CEO of California-based Remo Homes. Do you want to see how this California company is able to solve for climate change and housing affordability? Well, stay tuned. Hear how this team is trying to make the California dream a reality. And it's also your chance to tour their facility. That's right. You want a sneak peek at their secret sauce? Your golden invitation awaits. But first, please take a minute to thank all of these amazing supporter members with thumbs up and give them a shout out, especially our good friends Cobalt Creed, makers of high efficiency small duct heating and cooling systems. Please reach out to Sean Intagliata and Dave Stewart to learn more at Cobalt Creed. But we can't forget these amazing supporting members as well. We'll be right back. Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Are you looking to start a factory, optimize your existing factory, streamline your production, or take your team to the next level? Whatever your needs are, Forward has a solution for you. Reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. Halleck Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for off-site modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, halleckltd.com. Brought to you by Greatech, one of the largest Autodesk partners globally and software developer of the PowerPack Advanced Design, Advanced Steel, and the StruxSoft product line. The complete solution to automate wood and light gauge steel framing, design, and documentation all the way out to CNC output, model, design, and manufacture with StruxSoft. Learn more at StruxSoftSolutions.com. All right. Again, we can't do any of these conversations without all of our supporting members. So please reach out to them, check out what they have to offer, and tell them Dave Cooper sent you. All right. Well, without further ado, let's bring Vamsi onto the show. Vamsi, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, we really appreciate you coming on the show. I'm super excited to come and see you this week. So we're going to be out in California for the International Code Council's annual meetings and hearings. And you're doing something special for us while we're out there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that in just a moment? But first, Vamsi, we want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we'll have a family member on, but you only have 2 minutes to do it. The floor is yours.
All right, so 2 minutes is not enough, but I'll try to keep it short. Born and raised in India. So here's the funny part, my mom calls me Vamsi, my wife calls me Kumar. So everybody keeps asking me what they call by, what should they be calling by? So, no preference, even though my partner says that he wants to stay on the good side of my wife. So he calls me Kumar. Anyway, so born, raised in India. I came to US back in 2001 to do research in artificial intelligence. And I was not a big fan of the graduate program here. So I dropped out and started my entrepreneurship journey, ran a restaurant, an e-commerce business, a medical tourism conference. All along, I've been in real estate. How? So my father used to be a big general contractor in South India. And later when I came to the US, I got married into a real estate or construction family. So that's how my connection to the real estate and construction businesses. I have a unique point of seeing stuff like advances in artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and also real estate. And being in LA, I also seen advances in space technology. Just this weekend, Elon Musk did something amazing at SpaceX. Bring the booster back. So that's my background, a hodgepodge of construction, AI and everything in between.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. And, the background is what is so intriguing to me. And I'm going to say Vamsi.
Yeah,
I'll get it right, man. But, we need people that think differently in this industry. We need people that coming from outside industry and coming into industry. That's how we're going to change. That's how we're going to become bigger and better. What was your inspiration behind Remo Homes? I mean, you just wake up one day and say, well, you know what? I'm going to change housing. I'm going to do something that's better. I want to solve for the crisis. And that's not big enough. Let's solve for climate change as well.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple of things, right? Like this is during COVID. A couple of our projects from my family construction business got really delayed, and we lost quite a bit of money in that. And that was like a wake point for me. Hey, most of my friends who went like did college with me went on to have a senior roles at like Google, SpaceX, and whatnot. But here I am struggling to build the same damn thing as we've been doing for a lot of years, but like it's every year it's costs more and takes longer, so there must be better way. So that's when I discovered, I should say, modular, and started Remo with my partner Ryan Blowers, who comes from SpaceX, and a few people who come from NASA, MIT, and other ones. Hey, how can we, like you said, California dream, how do you make it affordable? And along the way, we had a very chance meeting with the California Governor's Office of Planning and Research. They're like, hey, don't forget sustainability and resilience. These are the top, goals for California. So that's we incorporated that. So we didn't start out as a zero carbon home company. Sorry, a small difference between net zero and zero carbon. Net zero, you generate as much power you consume. You call it net zero. But the problem is you're drawing power during nighttime, and that particular power might be coming from natural gas or coal, so it's not purely sustainable. We going with zero carbon in the sense it not only generates all the power you need, but when it consumes, it doesn't consume during peak period where the renewable energy source is not there in the grid, so that we are very clean. So it's like a slightly higher standard than net zero is zero carbon. That's what we won the 3 million grant from the California Energy Commission for. Go for this higher standard.
So when you say you won, you went and got a grant?
Yeah, again, like
I want to win 3 million. Tell me how.
Yeah, only in California, right? So again, like one of the events that Governor's Office of Planning and Research were hosting, we came across this grant opportunity, and we were like, hey, we should go for it. And but we never wrote grants before. This is the first time like we ran a grant. Just to give you some background, the win ratio in grants is about 1 to 2%, and the fact that like we won on the first try and that to 3 million was just incredible. I would say, a part of his timing and a big part of his location. And then, of course, our team, which come from all these amazing companies. And we had a good support from Panasonic, Mitsubishi Electric, Schneider Electric, Southern California Edison, even ICC. All these organizations gave a support letter, which was, I believe, instrumental in securing the grant.
Tell me about your production facility. Tell us a little bit about where you're located. And then I want to get into the type of construction you're using, whether it's wood, cold form steel, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, sure. So we don't have a full-on production facility. We have a prototyping facility in Gardena, just a few blocks away from SpaceX headquarters. And right now we're working on establishing a bigger facility in the Inland Empire, where the cost of business is a little cheaper. But we wanted to be in the center of the world's aerospace industry, where we're walking distance to Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, SpaceX, and all these things, and potentially steal some of their best engineers. And we use steel, cold form steel. We used wrought iron or structural steel for our first prototype. Now, for sustainability concerns and cost reasons and transportation, all these logistics issues, we're switching to light gauge steel.
If you guys are just joining us, we are on with Vamsi, who is the CEO of Remo Homes. And we might as well put it out there. We have a chance to tour your facility. We get a chance to get an inside look at that secret sauce, as we said in our opening monologue, with the International Code Council. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that, when it's happening, and we'd love to get more and more people to come out and see what you're doing. Plus, engage with the International Code Council, the CEO, Ryan Kolker, all of them. This is your chance to get to know your state officials, because this is their state, or I guess annual meeting for all the state officials across the country, and they're coming to tour your factory. How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, what a privilege, right? They're one of some of the best minds in the world, and what do you call as the powers to be, work in this particular thing. So it's an honor and privilege to host them. So it's like Sunday, 9:30 to 11:30. So this conference is taking place in Long Beach, and our facilities in Gardena, which is like about 10 miles. So an easy, bus ride from wherever they're coming from. And as I was saying, it's a prototyping facility. What we're going to show is how are we building prototypes which are zero carbon with battery, heat pump, solar, and all that, and advanced installation. And then how the process of fabrication is different from traditional construction. Because no offense, but some modular companies are just construction in a warehouse, which is good, like where the build period is shorter and it's more safe for the employees, which is fine. But we have a slightly different take. Hey, you need to really bring more advanced fabrication techniques and lean manufacturing, few things. So we're working on that stuff, like faster joinery and more high efficiency, tighter tolerance materials. So it's a prototyping facility. We're constantly experimental with the different, insulated metal panels, SIP panels. So we can demonstrate that to ICC. We will going to be having a short presentation of 15-20 minutes on our company, our roadmap, how our product and process is different, and then we're going to show the tour of the facility.
Tell us a little bit about the features and technologies that are in your house that are helping to address climate change.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a zero carbon home. I was saying, it comes with both passive measures and active measures. So passive measures are very tight envelope, higher thermal insulation, and those are the passive measures, and of course high performance windows. Then active measures are high performance heat pump, and then like a heat pump water heater, and then we have like solar and battery integrated as well. So to be fully honest, what we're trying to do is not incorporate, we are incorporating revolutionary technologies that are developed elsewhere. But the innovative thing we're doing is the system integration of all these things in a most cost efficient manner, and doing factory installation as opposed to field installation, because factory installation is proven to reduce the cost by 40%. Cost of installation of heat pumps, cost of installation of solar, cost of installation of whatever, a battery and everything like that. So we're working on commercializing and making this affordable to families in California and elsewhere.
When you say that in California, it is not saying the affordability is if you're in Pittsburgh or Cleveland, and those places are even getting expensive, but California is through the roof. What does affordability really mean in California? And then also tell me, are you just focused on California, or are you focused on a much bigger picture?
Yeah, so in California, I would say it's about $300 per square foot is building a basic home. At least we're talking about Little Inland. If it's like San Francisco, LA, it's much higher, right? And then you want to build a zero carbon resilient home, which I'm talking when I talk about resilience in a second, is much more than that. We're talking about $400, 450. Our goal is to do the vertical construction part between $200 to $250 per square foot, and as we develop or have more manufacturing economies of scale and keep bringing down that cost of that from $200 to ideally $150 per square foot or something like that. And mind you, this is zero carbon, not traditional home, and this is modular. And we're going much more than California building code requirement, going above California's Title 24 requirements.
So you're going above the requirement. This is cold form steel. So this is being built to the ICC, the International Code Council standards, not the HUD, correct?
Definitely, yeah.
You mentioned resiliency, right? Such a big topic in California. Walk me through how you guys are addressing the resiliency with your homes.
Yeah, so In California, like you might have seen the headlines. A lot of insurance companies like State Farm are leaving the state. Right, it's just not economical to insure. Like there's a wildfire risk, and other risk is replacement cost. And because of construction inflation going down, even though you made the same home, like built the same home 40 years ago, if it burns down in a fire, the cost of replacing has gone down. So you have this dual risk, the higher fire risk and like flood risk, plus the replacement risk is also, the replacement costs have gone up, I should say. So we're working on both. We have a standardized home model. So in the worst case, like the home burns down, it's much more easier to replace in the same permits, the same like a foundation requirements and everything like that. But we never want to get there, or hopefully never want to get there. And what we're trying to do is, incorporate these homes with class A fire rated envelope, even metal roof, class A fire rated wall panels, and a higher performance windows, vents that have like a metal frame kind of it, so ambers can get into your home. So these are the resilient aspect we're adding to the home without increasing the cost of the home. So this is what we're working on, resilience aspect. And we newly started working with this organization called IBHS. So they're a non-profit. They work with insurance companies to increase the resilience in building codes. About 15 years ago, they started a standard called fortified home standards. Right now, if you're building a home in Gulf states, especially in the coastal areas, you must build to these standards to get insurance. Otherwise, you need to self-insure. So they launched this different standard for California called wildfire home standard. That means like some of these, vents and windows and like, classified rated envelope and everything like that. So we're working with them on incorporating or pre-certifying our homes to this wildfire home standard.
I mean, so that's pretty amazing. I haven't heard anybody working with anybody that actually does, fire standards while you're doing construction. So walk me through that process. Are they guiding you along the lines of what materials to use, how to get a higher fire rating? Like what does that truly mean to me as a consumer of your product?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, and we had just had this conversation yesterday, and very heartbreaking conversation. So the person who works for IBHS apparently had family member who lost their home during the Paradise Home fire about 6 years ago. I think 14,000 homes were lost in Northern California, right? 14,000 homes. Until day, only 4,000 homes are built. And when we talk to California governor's office, the average time for rebuilding is about 10 years after a wildfire. That's crazy, right? So we're working on like making these things resilient, like yes. So envelope, which is walls and like roof and vents and everything, and then windows. And also a separate thing which we don't directly work with is at least 5 feet of quote unquote fire escaping, so you don't have any like dry bush, plants and everything like that. It's more like volcanic like rock or some other way you protection, so that like you're not creating combustible materials close to the home. So some of it like we are in our control of this home, and some of it is we educate the home. We're trying to educate the homeowner on how to like clear the bush and otherwise make this home
Yeah.
resilient.
I love that. Right. So, I mean, you're not just focused on the house itself. You're focused on the education and awareness to, hey, stop the fire before it even gets close to your house if it's coming, right? Or, stop the cinders from getting into your house with the wrong venting systems, through the eaves and all that. So appreciate it. Hey, Vamsey, how do you go now from prototype to full on factory production? And what does that look like? The journey from prototype and full on factory production, and how many of these are you planning or would like to produce per year?
Yeah, great question. So in that way, we're a little bit inspired by the Tesla model. When Tesla was starting out, they didn't have their own production facility. They're doing mostly the design and engineering. And they're using the Lotus car chassis to upgrade the suspension and incorporate their battery and motor technology and replace the IC engine in it. So there's something to be said there. So what we're working on right now, focusing on is something called integrative design, code compliance, and establishing supply chain and do more last mile assembly in our factory so that we can get prefab components, which is means closed wall panels. We're talking about like floor cassette, ceiling cassette, everything else from other parts of the state, even other parts of the country. So we're focusing right now on last mile assembly. The reason is, this, in Silicon Valley is very well known. You want to get an MVP out there and have product market fit before invest tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in capital costs to build a factory, right? So we're trying to see what's the quickest way we can test this product in the market and get some refinements going, do it 2 3 times. Now we're confident that we have a product that would hit the center of the bell curve in the market, and now we can establish a much bigger facility. So our dream is to produce 5,000 to 10,000 units per year in the long term, but we would like to crawl and walk before we run and sprint.
Are you looking at using a lot of automation, a manual process, or a mix of both? Any AI? I mean, listen, you got a bunch of science and engineering geeks in that office, right? So we're talking about SpaceX people and others. I'm sure the ideas get big fast.
Yeah, great. Definitely. Automation is, something again, Tesla talks about is that automation should never be the first step. It's like, removing dumb requirements and then accelerating in the production process and then finally automation. So what we're trying to do is how do we simplify the wall panel design, the roof design, the entire home design so that it's like we can manually do this better, and then we can use automation, and we're using something called lean design principles. So lean design principle for this idea was started by a guy called Sandy Munro. So from his company called Munro and Associates. Munro Associates really helped Tesla clean up their production line. So you want to use lean design to simplify your product. That means as few materials as possible, as little variability as possible, as less weight as possible. So then we get to automation. And so that's our ramp up. We don't want to start on automation from day one.
Yeah.
And AI is very exciting. Most people, when they think about AI, is like, hey, just productivity increase. We feel, AI is going to help, especially if you have proprietary data in the entire life cycle. Because typically, they think about, okay, this is manufacturing. How do I reduce cycle time? How do we have less working capital, whatever it is? That's all mostly productivity. We feel that AI would unlock a lot more value down the life cycle. That means in operations. So for example, you've seen that your home is being deployed in a certain area, a certain climate, certain fire risk. How do you incorporate them to design into manufacturing to help it? So it's just not one isolated part, the entire life cycle. And as you have more user data from usage, and then you push back into again design, and then can we build more services on it? Can we make home as a service? For example, Tesla again,
Yeah.
they're trying to launch an insurance product, right? Because they know the behaviors of the driver and they can underwrite it better. So can we get into an insurance game? Can we get into add-on services like solar? Can we get into security? I feel AI would unlock so much more than productivity. You can even create a marketplace. You work with third-party vendors for furniture upgrades and everything like that. So that's where the lucrative part, right? If you look at Apple right now, they make almost as much money on the software as a hardware, and the margins on software are so much better than hardware. So, but again, we want to get the basic product right, and we have a critical mass before we can fully leverage this marketplace in AI.
What are you guys using, if you don't mind telling us, or maybe you do, for your design software now? Are you using a digital twin, BIM, Autodesk? What are you guys currently design with?
So we're using a combination of Autodesk tools and Dassault Systems tools. Like Autodesk tools is obviously Revit, Dassault Systems tool is SolidWorks, and actually I'm scheduled to speak at a CATIA event. So CATIA is actually one of the tool created by Dassault Systems. It's for designing aeroplanes. And the good thing about this CATIA tool is you can create non-geometric shapes, like organic shapes, like aeroplane or something like that. And the other advantage is it's meant for integrating sub-assemblies, because aeroplanes, they're not built like homes, like, first
Yeah.
you do the framing and everything. They're built with engines, like, and everything, fuselage and everything like that. So for that, um, CATIA is a very good thing, and we're building our home using a concept called either kit of parts or componentization, where we are stitching together these components. So for that, we're very excited for CATIA, but we're not ruling out, some of the Autodesk tools like Fusion 360, Inventor, and a few other ones as well. So our thing is focus on the process, less on tools, because with tools, there's a risk that there might be vendor lock-in, and you'll be limited to paying their royalties and paying their features and everything.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I'm sure it's going to keep evolving over time as the business is evolving and AI comes into play with everything. All right, so Vamsi, we have a chance to come and tour your facility this upcoming weekend. Let me ask you, why do you think it is important to have a relationship with the International Code Council? You guys are taking valuable time away from your work to host having everybody there. What value do you see in it?
Yeah, so for us, it's focused on, like, you talk about the American dream of making home ownership possible for everybody, and right now, because of construction inflation, that's hard. So Mother offers a cheaper home ownership, cheaper, I would say, first cost, but the second thing is this resilience and zero carbon. You want to implement a solar battery heat pumps, or you want to add these Class A fire rated envelope and other things. It's going to be very expensive to do it in a stick built construction method. So, but right now mortgage rates are high and construction as is very expensive. So, at least a company like like a Remo offers a more practical and economical way to deploy these energy efficient and resilient homes in your communities. So these guys are gatekeepers, right? Like in every community, so code thing. So we would like to their buy-in, get their feedback. Sometimes are like, no, this is my job, how dare you, like, bypass inspection, we cannot inspect the module. So we want to get their buy-in and address their concerns, like your car is not inspected at your dealership, it's in factory inspected. So if you want to get to a higher technology, that's the way to go.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. But first of all, because everybody likes to get together for drinks, even if you're out there and you can't attend the expo full time, if you're in California, as you can see right here, there is an expo happy hour. So I'm enticing you. I want all of you to come out. We're going to be out there. We're going to be covering what's going on at Vamsi's factory, as well as other things. I'll be moderating some panels. But the International Code Council has reached out to Dave Cooper Live to invite all of you in that Expo happy hour. Whether you attend the conference or not, it's free. You can come. So if you live in California, make sure you show up, have a few drinks. But here's the important part: as we're all struggling to, figure out what the code's going to be for our state, as we're doing better practices of building, such as offsite, modular, panelized, CLT, whatever the case is. This is your chance to have a personal relationship with the code officials, and they do want to see you. They know this is coming. They know it's growing. So that is definitely the opportunity to be out there. And Vamsi, I can't thank you enough for hosting everybody that's coming, because I think it's going to be awesome going to your factory. One, there are going to be exhibitors and demonstrations happening, education happening. There's going to be students there, contractors there, building professionals there. And I believe it's also their 30-year anniversary celebration. And they're getting a new CEO. So you want to meet the new CEO before he comes in? Dominic Sims is turning in the belt, and there's a new CEO coming in. And we're going to introduce all of you to that new incoming CEO as well. And like you said, Vamsi, they are gatekeepers. The more they know and the more they understand what you're doing and what others are doing out there, the better informed they're going to be when they're writing those new codes.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah, for sure. So with that said, Vamsi, did I miss anything? Is there anything you want to talk about? Did I not say something? We talked about sustainability, resiliency, the new factory. Tell us, what do you have going on that we should tell the world about as well?
Yeah, so we did a presentation at World of Modular earlier this year in March, And the title of the presentation was Strength in Numbers Through Componentization. So the idea is if we share the same components and not try to do all the trades in modular factory, we can advance the state of art, reduce the cost, and everybody will be benefited. And ICC, took a cue from it, and they're trying to start a new code based on some of the ideas us and other organizations have been putting, whereby we standardize the components. Our modular industry should move to this componentization way, where we not everybody is not doing everything. We focus on certain things, and for the componentization to pick up, there should be some standards, right? Like otherwise, it's too much risk to the business. So we're getting feedback for that. We floated this to ICC. They're investigating this, and they have a tentative standard name for it. But we'd love to get other people's feedback on this. This is how automotive industry work. They have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. Each supplier focus on certain thing. That's why your car is advancing so much. It's like a supercomputer these days, but your home hasn't changed much. So we too can advance the state of art and bring down the cost all at the same time if we move to a componentization type of design. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, componentization. So will your factory be more of an assembly line? Do you see it as an assembly line where you're building the sub-assemblies and then your production line is nothing but assembly process?
So as we scale up, we want to be more vertically integrated, but it's a roadmap. So day one, we want to get product market fit. What's the lowest capex we can get to before we test out the product? And as we have more volume, we want to do some of the sub assemblies manufacture ourselves.
Got it. Vamsi, thank you so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. And we're really looking forward to visiting your factory this weekend. And for any of you out there that want to tell Vamsi how to build it better, you get to come to his manufacturing facility and his prototype, and you can tell him how to build it better if you have some ideas. That's what this is all about. Nobody has the secret sauce yet, or we wouldn't be in the position we are. It's about sharing knowledge. And it's about getting together. And the only way we do that is if we talk to each other. And that's what this show is all about. Vamsi, thank you for everything that you're doing out there. And we'll see you in just a few days.
Yes, please tell us what we're doing wrong, and happy to share everything we're working on. It's an honor and privilege to be on the show, Dave. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's an honor. It's an honor to have you. You guys are out there doing all the hard work. And guess what, everybody else? It's Wednesday. You still got 2.5 days to keep building it better. Unless you're on the West Coast, then you have more than 2.5 days. But hey, keep up the good work. Keep doing what you do. I'm Dave Cooper, and make sure you thank these supporting members as well. Vamsi, I'll come back to you after the outro. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.